Good morning, Endeavour, and a very happy National Numeracy Day to you. And I cannot wait to see all your photographs of all the brilliant maths activities that we've put on for you and see what you've been up to. I also shared some great predictions with you yesterday. Some people saying that the Explorer might destroy the raft. That would be a disaster. Some people saying that the Explorer might trap the children. Somebody else said that the children might trap the Explorer. But it wasn't like that at all, was it? Now let's see what this next chapter has in store. Mums, cover your ears, because it's all about spiders. The chapter's called Tarantulas. By the time Fred got back, the others were awake and furious and eating. It's difficult to look angry and chew at the same time, so they put down their bananas to glare at him. "Where were you?" asked Lila. "We thought he might have been cutting off your fingers," said Con. Fred explained about the trap, about the statues, and proffered the berries as a peace offering. By the time they'd finished spitting out the berries, and Max had finished miming being sick on Fred's shoes, Con and Lila had stopped glaring quite so ferociously. Lila offered him 3/4 of a banana. "We found them over there. There's a tree behind that cluster of stones where the earth shows through. There were 5, but we only took 3 in case they belonged to..." She gestured her head up and toward the statues. "Him." The banana was a little green, but Fred preferred them that way. He ate as slowly as he could, but it was difficult. Bananas were very rare at home. It tasted of comfort. A light thumping echoed across the city square. It was the Explorer stomping down the centre of the citadel, heading in their direction. They began frantically tidying themselves, Con raking her hair with her fingers and Lila straightening back his fur. Max licked his forearms like a cat. At that point, several things happened all at once. The Explorer came closer. He didn't, in fact, seem to be looking at them. He seemed lost in thought, staring upwards at the canopy as he walked. A rustling made Fred look away, down at the ground, and a snake reared up suddenly from behind a fallen branch. It stood straight up like the periscope on a submarine. It was violent green with a whitish belly. Its eyes were red. Fred gave a hiss and gestured to the others. "Sss!" They froze. "Don't panic," Lila whispered. "Snakes don't attack, remember?" Fred backed away. It came up over the trunk, its neck still a stalk, heading towards him. It didn't seem to like him staring. "I think the snake might not know that," whispered Fred. The snake started to glide across the log towards them. Fred's breath halted in the middle of his throat. He stared around wildly for a stick. The Explorer walked straight past them, chewing on a stick with fierce intent. Without pausing in his stride, without seeming to take aim, he pulled a rock from his pocket and threw it at the snake. It cut through the air and struck the snake in the neck. The snake slumped to the ground. The Explorer kept walking. He didn't look back. His eyes returned to the canopy overhead. Fred stared at Lila, at Con, and saw his own shock reflected back twice over. "Where did he learn to do that?" Lila whispered. "And why?" hissed Con. "I thought he'd rather we were all dead. It'd be more convenient for him." "Don't you say that," said Max. "You can't." His face was full of righteous fury. "He killed the snake for us, and he's mine." The Explorer stopped walking and his head whirred around to look at them. Con's mouth snapped shut and she backed behind Fred, but the man's eyes were on Max. The Explorer strode towards them and he bent and picked up the limp body of the snake and thrust it in his pocket. His voice was abrupt and without gentleness. "I have no wish to have it on my conscience if you die. Have none of you any idea what to do if you see a snake?" "No," said Fred. That should have been fairly clear, he thought. The Explorer sighed. "For future reference, walk away backwards as fast as you can. Don't run, and hum as you go." "You want us to serenade a snake?" said Con. "Why?" "They don't like vibration. Or if you can kill it, it makes a reasonable dinner." If you really plan to make the journey to Manius, you should know that. There are a great many things you need to know. Can you fish? No, said Fred, not really. Can you hunt? No, said Lila. Can you set traps? Any of you except Fred who should know how? No, said Con. Why would we be able to? I live with my great aunt. She doesn't trap anything except dust. Oh, and mice. But she doesn't eat them. Lila grinned at her, her wonky teeth shining. I see. The explorer took in a breath, a heave of air that seemed to cement a decision. Right then, come with me. Just come, said Lila, or all of us. All of you, even Fred, despite his idiocy. His eyes were hard, even the miniature cataclysm in the cardigan. He means you, Max, said Con. I found a nest, said the explorer, and I will share it with you, but I want to be clear. This is the only help that I will give you. I have no time to waste on children. A nest of what? Said Lila. She scooped back her up and settled in her arms. He grasped hold of her upper arm and rested his nose in the crook of her elbow. You'll see. You'll see, Fred thought as they marched in a single file behind the explorer, half running to keep up. You'll see were not reassuring words when spoken by someone whose fur coat still had feet and faces attached. The nest, when they reached it, sticky with sweat and their hair full of twigs, did not look as Fred had expected. It was a hole in the ground. In fact, it was barely even that. The ground was covered in dry leaves and the hole was almost invisible. What's in there? Asked Fred. He wondered if it might be mice. Did mice dig burrows? He wasn't sure how he would feel about eating a mouse. Tarantulas, said the explorer. Oh, mice suddenly sounded much more appetising, thought Fred. They're delicious. They taste like shrimp cocktail. The explorer looked at Con, whose mouth was open. Do you have a plan for your face? Or are you going to keep it like that? You don't actually eat tarantulas? Asked Con. Do they attack sloths? Asked Lila, and back appeared out from her elbow. We get to eat spiders, said Max. The three sentences were spoken very differently. Fred thought disgust, cautious interest, and sheer unholy joy. He said nothing, only knelt down to stare more closely at the hole. Yes, you toast them over the fire, like crumpets. But aren't they poisonous? Asked Lila. I am not eating a tarantula, said Con. As you wish, the explorer shrugged. If you plan to walk to Manius, the day will come when you'll be glad of knowing how. Right, we'll need some long twigs. I am not eating one, said Con. That shouldn't be a shocking position to take. And she turned to Lila and Fred for confirmation. That's normal. I want to try it, said Fred. Why on earth? Because I don't want us to starve to walk to Manius. And what else are we going to eat? And what if it's good? Lila's face was interested. What do you think are the chances it will be? Percentage-wise. Low, said Con, really disgustingly low. Who wants to go first? Asked the explorer. There was a glimmer in his eyes. Fred didn't. Absolutely. Trust him. Right, Endeavour, join me for part 2.